Audubon 2456.
State of the Save is back with part 3 of our Resident Evil 4 trilogy. We are finishing the game. Nothing will stop us now. Thank you once again for joining us. I am, of course, Eric. We have a wonderful Discord show for you today. Very excited. To my upper right-hand corner, Michael, as always. How you doing, Michael?
Hi. So the Resident Evil 4 trilogy, is this like a Final Fantasy thing where we're doing Resident Evil 4 1, Resident Evil 4 2, Resident Evil 4 3, or Resident Evil 4 Leon Returns?
No, this is just us taking 3 parts to do this game. I appreciate the attempt there, but I will not give it to you. To my directly above me, these are visual gags, by the way, that does not work on a podcast. But John, how you doing, John?
I'm doing pretty good.
I appreciate your magic trick right there.
It was incredible. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, and I'm never going to do it again, and no one will ever see it. So
exactly, it was amazing. If you weren't on this call, you really missed out.
Exactly. If you couldn't see our faces, like the reactions were priceless. So you all missed out. But I'm doing well. I'm doing pretty good.
This will play well.
I actually had well, I mean, I'm doing well now. I had COVID last week, but now I'm doing good.
I hope that went as smoothly as possible there.
It was only bad for like one day, and then after that, it was smooth sailing. And audience might be able to hear it in my voice. I don't sound quite normal yet, but hey, it'll be fine.
It's been going around a lot in our neck of the woods. I've dodged it so far, knock on wood. I actually took a test today because I was having the itchy throat and all that stuff, but I think what it is I just breathed in a whole mess of dust. Just breathing in dust, just unfiltered dust into your lungs. So
that'll do it.
I feel like that was just my problem, but I am in the constant state of paranoia, so it's always a good thing to be sure.
At my work, people on the opposite end of the hall got it. All those people are like home now, so like, but the cool thing was I was on like the opposite schedule from them for a while by covering, so I was far away from those people. So I'm like, all right, we are good.
It was all around me at work. Like it was a point in time in which I was the only manager in the entire company there because everybody else had the COVID. So my paranoia level has been at peak paranoia for the past little bit.
Oh, that sucks. I swear I had it like 10 times. I'm a hypochondriac. My wife and I were painting one time, so I lost my smell. I freaked out for a little bit, and then while I was eating food, my wife was like, "So how's your food?" I went, "Oh, delicious. Why?"
I have no clue how that's relevant to this conversation. I feel like you are misunderstanding how important it is that I have the COVID. No, but I'm glad, John, that you're feeling better. I'm glad that it wasn't too bad for you, and that's not why we're doing the digital show today. That's because I couldn't find anybody to watch my children, so here I am. So if there's a little child who pops up behind me a little bit, that's why I had to leave for the conversation for a little bit. But no, it's a good show today. I'm very excited about us finishing up Resident Evil 4. I'm interested to see how, John, you feel about this whole experience now that you have successfully completed the greatest video game of all time.
Because, sorry, not to delve too much into the discussion already, this is the section that I think everyone forgets about when they think about Resident Evil 4.
Someone called me a liar, and I took high offense to this because I have played this game so many times that I don't appreciate being called a liar. When I mention that, I always describe it as the village, the castle, and then you go to war. That's what this section is. I don't care what else. There is machine guns and helicopter strikes and guys in helmets. It is a war zone. This person said that was wrong and not in this video game, and I told that person to mind their own fucking business because I knew what I was damn talking about. This is the war section of Resident Evil 4.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm. I can agree with that.
Yes, and once again, I continue to wonder. I don't know how they're going to do this in this remake.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it just blows my mind. But before we get to Resident Evil 4, let's talk about some video games that we have been playing. John, let's start with you. What kind of video games have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Legends Arceus. I beat that game within like a couple weeks of it coming out last year, back in or was it this year? Oh my god, it was this year. Beginning
January,
of 2022.
I think.
Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah, at the beginning of this year, I beat it when it came out. And I picked it back up, and it's still, even after you've beaten it, it's still like fun, and you could go back and you could still accomplish things. The way that this game, for whoever hasn't played this game yet who likes Pokemon, the way the Pokedex works in this game, it's so much more elaborate. Like, for example, when you caught a Pokemon in the old games, it would register in your Pokedex. And when you see a Pokemon, it would show up, but it wouldn't give you any data. In this game, when you catch a Pokemon or just see a Pokemon or see it do like a certain attack or catch a certain number of it, you get more updates on the Pokedex. It's like,
Oh, okay.
more data. The more data you get, like, the more complete the entry is. If you get 10 different pieces of data for each Pokemon, it's considered a fully complete entry.
Okay,
you're doing
correct me
data
if I'm
mining.
wrong.
You're doing data mining circa like Facebook on the Pokemon. So every time you see them, you get a little bit more information about the Pokemon.
Yes. It's great, and I'm really enjoying it. I was actually looking at some of the Pokedex entries. There's these things in this game, so it takes place in the past, during the sort of feudal Japan era. So they did this thing in the game called space-time distortions, where it brings in Pokemon from the current day into like the past. And there's this Pokemon called, well, you guys probably know, Magnemite, Porygon. There's one entry in the Pokedex where the entries are all from the perspective of this British guy from the Galar region who's like, oh yes, very, very good, very good. and when he's talking about Porygon, it's like, this thing does not have a heartbeat. It doesn't breathe. I don't know how it's alive. I am truly disturbed.
It gave me epilepsy. It was weird.
Yeah, I was sitting there waiting for the joke on like, and it made all the kids in the area have seizures. I didn't expect that to happen.
That was a very frightening moment. I'm going to make sure people know about that.
I feel like in ye old YouTube, there's going to be 5 banned episodes of Pokemon going to be popping up any second now.
Oh god, no.
I just now learned that Pokemon had a timeline, that you could go back in time in Pokemon. I did not know this.
That's a new
weird.
thing, I think.
The reason is this game takes place in a region called Sinnoh, and the lore of that region is it was like the creation region where it talked about the actual creation of the Pokemon world. And the Pokemon creator Arceus made 2 gods to help him with time and space. Dialga, who manages time, Palkia, who manages space. And when they fight, or when there's a conflict, it creates a space-time distortion where stuff just goes crazy, and it can be pulled in from the past, or it can be pulled in from the future. And that's how Pokemon from the current day got into the past. And it's weird. It's so weird.
I wish people could see my face right now.
Yeah.
Because I did not know that there was the existence of a creator in the Pokemon universe, and that B, that there not only was one god, but he made 2 other gods that have fights and stuff like that. I did not know that there was a whole religious religion here in the Pokemon world. And
they had the third one, but it turned into Satan basically, and so he's been banished.
Sure. Yeah, you can also as a 10-year-old capture Satan and force him to fight your rival for you.
It's true.
If you captured Satan, what's the purpose of capturing Satan other than to make him fight another 10-year-old? Have you never heard that Satan has had like a constant war with children? There was one of them who fucked him over in a violin contest, and he never got over it.
My deity can beat up your deity.
I just like
my
the idea
deity can kick yours' ass.
I just like the idea also that like Satan's biggest threat is 10-year-olds. Like when you become like 11 or 12, he's no longer worried about you. We're all past the point of threats to Satan. But when you hit that 10-year-old sweet spot, Satan freaks the fuck out because he's either going to lose a fiddle or he's going to be captured and made to fight another 10-year-old.
It's even crazier like talking about it, like, and how they try to explain it just makes it more crazy. It's weird, but Legends Arceus, an amazing game, very refreshing game after kind of them kind of falling into this normal formula of like beat gyms, get badge, fight Elite Four. Now it's like explore a bunch of open areas and catch Pokemon and literally discover the region in a time when it wasn't fully discovered. It was cool. Yeah. And I enjoyed going back to it.
Me personally, I'm gonna wait until like Scarlet and Violet come out.
Oh yeah,
because it's weird to have for me. I like to jump around with like a whole bunch of stuff. So like going from like Pokemon Arceus to like if I get it now, a brand new Pokemon game will be out at that time, and everything I've seen from Scarlet and Violet looks more like my thing. So
no, I get it. So the way Scarlet and Violet's looking, it looks like it's going to be like a best of both worlds. It's taking some of the stuff from Arceus that's great, and it's adding it to the old formula, and it's going to be open world, and that's just exciting.
So theoretically, if there was, say, a 31-year-old man who has not played a Pokemon game since Pokemon Silver, would Scarlet be the one to get?
Let's go, Pikachu!
Or should I get Let's Go Pikachu? Because I'm asking legitimately. I appreciate that you brought this up today because I have thought about this recently. Every once in a while I look at it and I go, "There's too many damn Pokemon. I'm not going to do this." But I was like, maybe this is the moment. Maybe 31 years of age is the moment to get back into the Pokemon. And so, is it Scarlet or do I go back to Let's Go Pikachu / Let's Go Eevee ones?
That's tough. So, if you just want nostalgia, and like that's all you really want, then Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee for sure. But if you just want a new Pokemon experience that feels like something you can get into, that's fresh and new, definitely try Scarlet and Violet. It looks like it's going to be a great new entry point in the series because it's just so different. It's going to be nothing's linear. You can challenge gyms in any order, and it's going to be just this open world. You explore, you discover things at your own pace.
I think that's the appeal because with the Let's Go Pikachu, and I get what Michael, you threw that up right away, and I get like the nostalgia feel.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that might be something to fiddle around with for a couple hours. But if I really want to give this like an honest shot, a kind of a fresh take on this series might be something in my best interest. So
I think that they'd be worth trying for sure.
Yeah, I can see that.
But definitely Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are great too. I loved them because that's what it was for me. It was just nostalgia because I love Gen 1 so much.
Well, see, and that's when you ask, like you say Pokemon, I still think about those Pokemon. Those were my Pokemon. And
of course,
I make this joke constantly about there's too many damn Pokemon, and I stand by that. I stand by that to this day. There's too many damn Pokemon.
There are a lot of damn Pokemon.
I'm one of the people who, when Sword and Shield cut them, I'm like, yeah, cool, 400, that's manageable.
Yes.
They're doing the same for this game. They're not going to have all the Pokemon in this game either. It's just going to be like a set number. So there's not going to be just like...
Well, that's what the DLC's for.
Well, maybe. So we actually don't know exactly how many there's going to be. My guess is it's going to be 400 to 500 Pokemon.
Okay.
In a time when there are going to be over 1,000 after this game comes out.
I feel like 400 to 500 Pokemon is a very respectable amount of Pokemon, and anyone who's making the argument that that's not enough Pokemon is a crazy person.
I miss my keys and my melted ice cream.
Is there a Bulbasaur? Is Bulbasaur going to be in it?
So Bulbasaur's not been confirmed yet,
This
I would be
bullshit.
shocked if they didn't.
Get,
I'd
get
be
the hell
shocked if they
out of
didn't bring the. They're probably going to include the Gen 1 starters. They always include Gen 1 in everything.
I just
Gen
like
1's
the
probably going
idea.
to have the most Pokemon.
Literally,
just
my
like,
literally my rotating desktops on Squirtle, Wartortle, and Blastoise right now. So
No,
I just like
they'll
the
probably
idea
be
that
in
like
there.
I finally get back into Pokemon. I'm willing to give it a shot, and there's not a single Pokemon that I fucking know. Like they're all like all of my childhood is just thrown away. It's like, you fool, none of
No.
that matters anymore. Get your millennial ass out of here.
and what's fun is that we're going back into Pokemon after so long. I was picking combinations of Pokemon that like people didn't use, and I swept my friend jaw dropped with a Cherim.
It's true. Yeah, I was like, Cherim used that crap, really? And then he used it, and I was like, oh, Cherim kind of slaps.
He's a defensive boy, exactly.
Yeah, he wasn't bad.
Because he was watching. John was watching my friend and I play, and like I could just see the anger in his face, going, "This should not work. What is he doing?"
Is this friend?
really
is this
good.
friend someone who's appeared on this show before?
No.
Okay, it's not who I was saying. Okay,
No.
I
But
thought
there's
it
someone
was-
who's
I thought
really
it-
good at Pokemon, and so
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
shocked.
That was the first time I beat him. I was like, finally, I did it.
That's funny. I like that.
Found the combination. Then I
There
tried
is-
again and I knew what to do to beat it. So I was like, oh well, I'll take this victory.
There is something about I've had a weird spot here where I've been jumping into old video games, just looking for some competitive game to be getting back into while I wait for other stuff to come out. And like if you go back and you play these games you haven't been keeping up with, the meta is so set at this point that by doing something slightly off of it, or something that was in the meta like 2 years ago when you stopped playing, you can just fuck people up. So randomly, I got back into Gears of War, the Ultimate Edition of the first game. You ask
People
Eric,
are still
why?
playing that?
Yes, and they all are at max level. I never played it, so I got in there just because I was just like, it's on the Game Pass. I'll just fiddle with stuff. And I go in there. All these guys are at 100, and I am at level 1. No one wants to play with me because I'm a level 1 on a game that's not been touched since like 10 years. But I was able to fuck people up. Not because I am good at that game, but because I was playing it like I was playing it back when it came out on the Xbox 360, when it was the last time I fiddled with this damn game. And people couldn't figure it out. So it was like, there was something nice about going back and you'd be like, oh yeah, all these dumb strategies everybody figured out how to beat 10 years ago, all you fools I forgot about. So my strategy completely valid. But
The history books have been rewritten, old man.
Exactly.
It's what they think. It's what
Exactly.
they think. But then you come in and you just... you get
No,
'em.
it's just this silent level 1 guy who wipes 3 guys in the first round just because I knew to stay in the corner with a torque bow. I mean, it's a weird experience. It's a weird experience.
There's people on the subreddit now going, who is this guy? Torque bow.
It just
What's
might
torque
get,
bow?
just my gamer tag and like somebody fucking identify him. He probably works for the coalition. Michael, you've been
Yes.
playing some video games. What you been playing?
I've been playing some video games. So the first I'm going to talk about very briefly, after Eric on the last show dissed Gravity Rush, I played a lot more Gravity Rush on PlayStation Plus. Gravity Rush Remastered. I finally beat that game. I never beat it on the Vita, but that's not what I'm going to talk about because I finally got to the sequel.
Wait, no. Wait a second.
Yeah.
You don't just be like, Eric talked shit about this video game. I played a bunch of it and just walk away.
Okay.
Like, listen, I stand
Okay.
by you. My
point.
issue is not that Gravity Rush was a bad game. My issue was that Gravity Rush is not a reason to own a freaking Vita.
I agree to disagree. Well, not anymore
yeah.
because now you can play it on PS4 remastered
Yeah.
at 60 frames a second. Gravity Rush is a third-person action-adventure superhero game that you play as a girl named Kat who wakes up with amnesia and all of a sudden superpowers, and you go on an adventure to figure out what has happened with this city because the city floating in the sky is limited to one district and the others are lost to like another dark dimension. So you fly around the city, gain new powers, and put the city back together. Gravity Rush 1 is a good game. I played through the whole thing, beat it, had a great time. But then I moved on to the sequel that I never played, Gravity Rush 2. Gravity Rush 2 is a fantastic game. The story is much better, the gameplay is much better, the maneuverability is much better, the combat is so much more fun. The mission structure is different. It doesn't rely on combat and relies a lot more on like your traversal powers and stuff. And it is a lot of fun. Basically, your powers in Gravity Rush are all about shifting, like gravity is like mainly Cat's powers.
You don't say.
You don't say,
say
exactly.
The Gravity Rush says the gravity-based powers.
So hitting the R1 button, Cat will float in the air, and then when you hit a button, gravity will then shift in that direction. So you're falling in the sky, but you're falling like sideways, and then you can like run up buildings that way, and you can like basically fly in any direction, and that's the point in which like your gravitational pull focuses on. And combat is all about like maneuvering like around your enemies and everything in the sky, trying to just find the best point of attack around them, and it is such a good game. So I've been playing a lot of that. So finally playing the sequel, the fully realized version of the potential that was on like the PlayStation Vita, and now seeing like fully realized is really great. I wish the game was like abandoned, like some of the online stuff, like leaderboards and stuff was killed a year after it launched. So of course they never gave like an update for PlayStation 5 or PlayStation Pro, so there's no 60 frames a second 4K mode on it. But even then, it's still at 30 frames 1080p, it still looks great and it still plays really fun. It just feels like it's like Mirror's Edge, we'll never have that full potential this is the pinnacle of what this can be game. It's always held back so slightly, and it's frustrating, but it's a really fantastic game.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Gravity Rush 2, also a Vita game, or did that come out after the death of Vita?
PS4 exclusive, came out early 2017.
Okay. I was just trying to see if this was just your elaborate excuse to try to justify you owning a Vita.
I do have a Vita. It is currently broken because the screen doesn't.
Seems like a pretty okay thing with a Vita.
Yeah. So the screen, the touch screen still works, but it's like a completely black screen. But I can still hear it like push buttons and everything. This was a few years ago. I called Sony to see if I could send it in to be replaced, and they wanted like $75 for it. I'm like, nah.
Sony's like, we don't even know. We ain't touching your Vita. What are you talking about? Yeah, what's a Vita? There was no console called a Vita. Get out of here.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
A long time. It just they have to transfer it to some guy in like the corner. He's like, yeah, I'm the Vita support guy. You're the first call I've had in 7 years. Just wouldn't leave I had a Spectrum guy one time. I was trying to get my internet hooked up, and I made the mistake of like talking guitars with him. And he was just excited to have someone to talk to. And I was on the phone for like 55 minutes. And the whole time I was just trying to be like, yeah, man, so when's that guy coming out? You know, I got myself a Telecaster last week. It's a really... Have you ever played a Telecaster? And I was like, oh, goddamn, dude, it's been 55 minutes. We're still talking about Fenders. So you're just some guy who's the Vita support guy just wanting to hang out with you. He's like, man... We could have had so much going if they would have put actually decent games on this damn thing.
We were better than the 3DS. They just didn't support us like Nintendo supported.
Yeah, we totally were better. As an early early purchaser of the PSP, I was very much excited about a Sony handheld system. And I was not going to be fooled again, my friend, okay? There was a couple of good stuff on the PSP, but I saw that Vita coming. I was like, not today, Sony. Not today. I don't need another thing sitting in my... I have more UMD movies on my shelf than I have PSP games. And I don't even know why I have those UMD movies. But I digress. Other than Gravity Rush, have you been playing anything?
I'm going to plug now our Stay at the Save YouTube channel.
What?
What?
A plug on this show?
A plug?
No.
What exactly? So we were talking for a bit. We were talking for a bit off mic about possibly doing something like that thing. So I was like, you know what I always wanted to do? There's this Legend of Zelda random Ocarina of Time randomizer that changes the location of all the items in the game. Like all the items that you get from mini games, all the major dungeon items, every single chest in that game, including the ice chests that will freeze you upon impact. And puts them in an item pool and then reshuffles them throughout the entire game. So I've been making like little streams of that and then like taking the highlight clips and chopping them down to like 20-minute segments on our YouTube page of me playing the Ocarina of Time randomizer. Ocarina of Time is one of my favorite games of all time, so finding a new... But it's one of those things where it's the same game every time. Like even something like Breath of the Wild, you can decide to go, I'm going to go right this time and see how I can get out of this one. But Ocarina is very much set in its ways. It's still a fantastic game, but after a while, like the sense of adventure that a Zelda game's supposed to evoke kind of just feels like you're going through the routine. It's still a fantastic game after you like beat it like 5 or 6 times like I have in my life. But this randomizer, having like the Door of Time, I have it set so the Door of Time is already open. So basically I'm trying to find the items so that I can get the items I need to beat the dungeons and then start doing the dungeons in random order to find the 6 shards I need, that are sacred stones, to unlock Ganon's castle and beat the final boss.
And you have to hope to God that you get the items you need.
Yes.
Through the random chaos.
I found the light arrows by doing the chicken quest that Anju. Find all my chickens, and then she's like, here's the light arrows, the thing that destroys evil.
Just
here you go.
Just a Kokiri village chicken lady's like, oh yeah, here's this powerful weapon to defeat the most evil person on the planet. Here you go.
You kidding me? The crazy village chicken lady is the equivalent of the crazy cat lady in All War. Do you not think those people have like nuclear weapons in their basement and shit? Like
that's
just the way life is, dude.
Point.
You need to go do more quests with chickens. You be getting all sorts of cool stuff. But yeah, Michael has been putting that stuff up on the YouTube channel. There's some highlight videos up there that are definitely worth checking out. And of course, you can check out the 4 streams on our Twitch, which I think, obviously either one we appreciate. State of the Save on both of those. Michael, will you be continuing your quest over time, or will you? Yeah,
the plan is to eventually beat it. So I want kind of like the streams and the YouTube stuff to be weird stuff we won't talk about this show. I got translated version, legally required, obviously. Want to throw that out right now. Very legal, legitimate copies of stuff. But I have acquired.
You can't see it right now, but Michael is holding up the contract that gave him legal ownership of this. But it's since this is an audio media, you can't see it on the audio media. But exactly. If you were to say, were to be in this phone call, you would clearly see this contract. So let's just go ahead and establish that. Thank you.
Is there a man in a black suit and black sunglasses behind you, Michael?
Oh no, they found me.
Just out of nowhere, Michael gets dragged off the phone call. It's like those shitty movies they made for about 10 years there, where everything was like a Zoom call and people getting murdered on Zoom calls. Please continue, Michael, on your crimes.
But yeah, one thing I've downloaded that I want to check out eventually, I have a patched ROM file of the last F-Zero game. F-Zero Climax that only released in Japan. I got an English ROM of that. And one thing, Super Smash Brothers Remix. People have taken Super Smash Brothers 64 and added a bunch of characters, a bunch of items, and a bunch of stages, all from like the Nintendo 64 era, like remixed into the game, and it is a blast.
Ooh. So like Banjo-Kazooie in the game before like the new one?
I don't know. I don't know if he's in there yet. They just added Sheik using like her Ocarina of Time model. Ness and Lucas. Yeah. Ness was already in the game. I'm trying to think of at the top of my head who's in there. Ganondorf is in there. Trying trying to remember at the top of my head who all was in there, but it's it's just a lot of fun and wild. They added Bowser, like a lot of the melee people. They've like found a way to make them work on Smash 64, and added like some really cool new original stages. Like there's, they added more stages for like Ocarina of Time. Like the Great Deku Tree is a stage now. They'll play the Kakiri Village music as you're on the stage, so that's a lot of fun. It's a blast.
Sounds like it. That sounds really cool.
So I want to check that out sometime. But
I think that the YouTube channel will probably just continue to be weird stuff.
exactly.
That's kind of, there's a structure to this show, and we've continued to look at ways to modify that. But at the end of the day, I think the YouTube channel being weird is not a bad idea. So I think definitely go on there, and if you would like to follow us on State of the Save, that would be nice. And then you can check out some of the weird stuff coming. But I think micro streams is a good start to kind of what you can expect from that YouTube channel. Other than that, Michael, anything else you've been playing?
That's it for me.
All right. I've been in a weird state the past few weeks. If my voice doesn't give it away, it's very odd right now. But I have played a couple of things. What's a weird thing in my life that I've decided to start playing a lot of? This multiversity thing. What is this?
Multiverses?
Yeah, yeah.
The Cartoon Network, is that Warner Brothers game?
That's the Warner Brothers game, yeah.
Friend of the show, Nick, came over here. Me and Michael had talked about it. Michael was enjoying it. And friend of the show, Nick, came over, and we played some of it, and then ended up playing a whole lot of it. That game is both the bane of my existence and something I'm constantly fascinated by. I am not a Smash Brothers guy. It's not something I'm super into. But at the same time, you tell me that I can play a video game where Shaggy beats up LeBron James on a stage from Rick and Morty. I have to at least see it. That game it's better than it has any right to be. There's no reason to make that game. There's no reason to make it as good as it is. There's no reason to make it as weird as it is. We were fiddling around with it. We played a lot of it. And you have some characters, pretty straightforward characters, Superman, LeBron James, They
all have an archetype, brawler, tank, support. My favorite is Bugs Bunny is classified as a mage.
Yes. Velma.
Makes sense.
Velma from Scooby-Doo is just a weird character that has a borderline broken move in which she can throw you into the back of a police car and it would just drive off the stage.
What?
Arya Stark is in that video game because we have HBO series Arya Stark from one of the extremely mature audience shows in a game where we can fight the kid from Steven Universe. It's just a fascinating video game, and it's better than it has any right to be. It's something that if it was not from people directly telling me it was worth checking out, I would have looked at it and just be like, this looks like something, a fly-by-night, something that I have no interest in. But damn, has it been compelling. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a game that I like, but it's a game that I just can't quite get over the fact that it exists.
I'm hoping for some Dune content. Give me a stage with those sandworms.
Yeah.
Or let me play as Duncan Idaho. Jason Momoa's character.
Yeah, you can literally, and that's the weirdest thing about it, right? The inclusion of Arya Stark, opening up all of those HBO original series and all that stuff, just makes you wonder, how weird are we going to get with this? Are we
Tony
going
Soprano?
Yeah. Or are we going to have the Man in Black from Westworld, the first season of Westworld? So some just guy in a cowboy hat shooting people.
Is that James Marsden?
It's been a while since I've seen that show, but I believe so. Yes.
James Marsden. I want to play as James Marsden. That sounds like a fun time.
Like it's a weird thing, and I can't quite get over its existence. So other than playing on that, I've been really bummed out. Dark Tide, which was due to be coming out very soon, has been delayed and has put just a grand cloud over my video gaming as of late. I was so pumped up and ready to go, and then that got pushed back to, I believe, October. Other than that, I've been playing a lot of games, but none of them are video games. I've been playing a lot of board games and card games. I continue to invest far too much money into my little Warhammer figures here. Oh no, who I just dropped. See right there? Yeah, fancy, all painted up. We have been participating in a game called Kill Team for Games Workshop. We bought the big starter kit. Me and Nick paid a bunch of money for it, and because it takes forever to paint things, we haven't played a single damn game. I hope that this thing that cost me in the triple digits is going to be worth the money that I bought.
Wait a minute, this game is broken.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. So we had some technical difficulties, so we don't quite know where we'll start back up. But that's
the lights went out.
Power grids are a problem right now in our area. So you might be hearing me say things I've already said. I don't quite know. I talked about my weirdness with Arya Stark beating up the Iron Giant. Talked about how me and Nick have been spending a lot of time working on miniatures for a game that we've yet to play. And then I think the last thing that I would have talked about would have been that I've also been really deeply into the Flesh and Blood card game, which is kind of like Magic the Gathering, but better in my mind. Very, very excited about a big event going on this weekend down at the local shop. I'm going to try to go down there, kick some ass, and win some free card packs. But been doing lots of gaming, just not a lot of video gaming. And I think you might have been here. Listeners might have heard me say this twice, and in that case, I'm just kind of reiterating the point. Might be doing some of that kind of stuff for the YouTube channel. That'd be fun. Yeah. Do some stuff like that. Me and Nick always into the miniatures and cards and expensive hobbies that we probably shouldn't be getting into, but continue to find ourselves in. Story of our lives. But I've been playing one video game, and that's a video game called Resident Evil 4. John, now that you have completed the greatest video game of all time, how do you feel? How do you feel having reached the mountaintop, as they say?
It was the worst game I've ever played. I hated it.
John, I hope your power goes right back out again.
No. I'm kidding. No, it was... Wow. It's a trip of a game. It's crazy. It's like... This came out in 2004, right?
Five.
This game was crazy. I guess focusing on the last part, it was definitely kind of a neat, it gave me this sense of okay, we did all the really spectacle stuff in the castle. We introduced you to the problem in the village. Now it is time to go to war. and it was...
Literally. Yeah.
Yeah, the moment you're dropped on, it's freaking machine guns and everything firing at you. Oh.
I would say... Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. I really liked this game a lot. I might have a controversial take on it, though. I can wait till the end.
Yay!
But before I say it, I really enjoyed this game a lot, and I get why Eric says it's like the greatest game of all time. I get it. It's a great game.
This is I say that over and over again, and I stand by it. But it's not a perfect game.
No.
Something can be your favorite video game and not be a perfect game.
Oh, sure. Pokemon's my favorite franchise. It's not perfect.
Exactly. Playing back through it this time, I tried to look at it from a point of view of okay, let's look at it from a more non-biased point of view. And there were some issues in pacing in this game. There's some points that kind of drag on. There's some boss fights in this third quarter, or third. Math.
Third act.
Who needs math? Who needs the math? I don't need the math. What are you talking about? But this last part, I think, is probably the weakest of the three sections. I think one of the biggest reasons being that it does drag a lot here.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
There's a lot of fat that could be cut from all this. I wouldn't say there was a lot of that in the rest of the game. The village section, I feel like, is pretty much what it needs to be. The castle is as close to how like traditional Resident Evil this game gets, that it's pretty solid. This section right here it's got a lot of fat to it. There's a lot of just enemy fights that at this point you've been doing so much combat, it doesn't really become even a challenge because you've been
Just
fighting
felt like
these
they're
guys for so long.
Just throwing enemies at you for the sake of throwing enemies at you.
The difficulty scale in this back half is weird because we'll talk about it. They introduce a fantastic new enemy, one of the best in the games, and then for some reason they decide they decide their difficulty balancing is just like, well, they figure out the combat, just throw 100 dudes at them.
Yes.
That's balancing, right?
There's a lot of listen, like this is the part, and now that we can talk about this entire game as a complete experience.
Yeah.
This is the part that confuses me the most in how you remake it. There's a lot of stuff in this that I really like. The regenerator enemies are very, very good.
I love the regenerators.
So cool.
They're the only time I've played a video game with that kind of enemy that doesn't annoy me. They pop up in the Dead Space franchise, and I don't like them. They pop up in other games.
Often replicated, never duplicated, these regenerators.
Exactly. And also they give you a tool to beat them with the infrared on this rifle.
I like that they don't give it to you right away. You have to kill like 2 or 3 of them before it hands you the tool.
I do too. So my experience was different. I ran the hell away from those things. I didn't even try to kill them because I was like, these things are unbeatable. I can't beat them. And then I did come across the book that told you about how to beat them. And so I was like, okay, when am I going to get this thing? Am I going to find it? Did I miss it? So I was kind of paranoid that I missed it because I was just skipping these enemies. And then when I finally found it, I was like, oh yeah. And I backtracked and killed all the ones I left alive.
I love the fact that it's a addition to a gun you're already very familiar with.
Oh yeah.
At this point, it could have been an opportunity to give you a new gun, but instead it's like, hey, remember this tool you have already that you've already been using? We've now given it the ability to actually be useful against this very difficult enemy. I think those are great. I think the stuff at the end of this game where like you're dealing with the helicopter helping Leon in the assault, the final push, I think the game story-wise loses its way pretty quickly here.
Yep. I feel like sorry. This feels like...
go ahead, no.
We talked about how Shinji Mikami wrote this in his room in, I think, a matter of 3 weekends. I could tell he was like, I need to speed this along real quick right to the ending. So dialogue becomes a lot more short, and they don't explain much of anything. Like, we'll talk about Krauser.
Krauser, he always pops up in my like short montage of like if you say Resident Evil 4, like he always pops up because of the knife fight him and Leon has.
Yep.
Because I always thought that was a cool moment. It's such a action movie moment,
Very Commando.
Yeah, it's Commando. He might as well throw a bar through him and like let off steam. I mean, come on. But Ada, like, I don't know how John's not very familiar with the first part of this series. This runs off of a lot of assumptions that you are up to date on what Ada and Leon's deal is from 2.
But even then,
loses
it doesn't help.
Yeah, it loses its track even then. Even if you have played all those games, you probably are not picking up on most of this because a lot of it just isn't told to you well. Ada's just there to be Ada. She's just there to show up randomly, do something, and peace out. Krauser he's the bad guy of the Thard. We've had each Thard of the game has had like a big bad. We had the mayor, which was a good antagonist. We had our little
Salazar.
Yeah, Calazar, who's our little sarcastic, constantly one step ahead of us guy that we had to deal with. And then when you hit here, you just get a guy who's just a knockoff version of Schwarzenegger, and his boss fight is fine, but it's by no means as, I would say, iconic as the other 2 big fights.
Oh,
and it's also,
I disagree. I love this fight.
I have a hard time, dude. I have a hard. He's a
can't
bullet
hate
sponge.
It should not work.
Yes.
I can't hate it. I love this stupid fight.
Okay, I mean, you have the right to your opinion.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that like later when we get there. But also, I was talking with a friend of mine because he's listening to this, and we were talking about like how there's going to be a villain that shows up in this third, Krauser, and he was like, the weirdest thing that RE2 Remake did not do was make Krauser a part of Leon's story. So even then, when he does show up, if he does show up in Resident Evil 4 Remake, it's still, who is this guy? He's supposedly Leon's partner, who Leon, like, turned in or something? I tried to write notes, but they touch on something and just leave it be. Like, even more so than the first act, even more so than the first 2 acts, they're just like, you turned me in, then that's it. Nothing else. What? Okay, we're moving on.
I know he was a cop for a day. Maybe he turned you in.
I mean, I would say this though: Leon didn't even make it in to like sign in. Like he didn't even get to punch in for his first day. He was on his way there when shit went bad. No,
over his desk, there's a welcome Leon sign as like all the desks were like pulled out and everything. My best part was that, like, getting to an R2, they locked his desk, be like, that's the new guy, we're hazing the new guy.
That's what you do in the Resident Evil universe. You lock stuff and leave vague clues around. That's just how you say hi to people.
Just put a chess piece on his desk and be like, what does it mean? Damn. Figure it out.
Only in the Resident Evil universe do you run an entire power grid off of chess pieces.
I think that's what ours is running off of, based on how we lost power.
Ours is running ours is currently running off of hamsters and wheels right now. Like half our city has ran out of power at least once a day for the past 3 days. But other than living in a failed state, let's go ahead and talk about this video game. Like I said, this section is odd to me. There's very little Ashley in this section.
Yeah. There's very little Ada.
There's very little Ada in this game in general. Ada is there to pop up, say a couple of lines, and then jump out a window. I always, you go to the island. When you start, this chapter starts off with Ada giving you the boat ride to the island. And
then leaving immediately.
Yeah, because that's what Ada does. Ada just shows up, says a snarky thing, and then bails out the back door.
Women.
Yeah, Leon doesn't come out looking great here. I would defend Leon Kennedy. You can get me a shirt that just says on it, defend Leon Kennedy, and I would do so. But he gets more cringy this last little bit. There was some introduction, like there was an introduction to like a newer version of our baseline enemies. Each Thard gets like a different group. These guys are not as dangerous as the guys in the castle. Like, you have some crossbow guys and things like that. You have the guys with the shock batons. But, like, I feel like the guys in the castle just had a more variety to them, and they came in from different places constantly. Here, it's a lot of push up against waves of enemies.
Yeah.
We get introduced to the Gatling gun guy. He seems like he's going to be a huge problem until you remember that you have one of the biggest arsenals in a Resident Evil game to ever exist. So it's just shotgun, 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 dead.
Grenade, yep.
Yeah, shotgun, knock him over, throw the incinerator grenade on him, knife, 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 knife.
I was actually starving for ammo for a decent portion of this section. Like, ammo would not drop for me in, like, a lot of instances
I
here.
was towards the beginning of this section. Like, after the first big fight with all the enemies, I was like, it dawned on me how little ammo I had left. I was like, oh shoot, am I actually gonna have a ammo problem in this game for the first time? Nope, I didn't. I was fine. But it was scary at first because I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, my note is severely low on ammo, and this game is giving me money.
I kept getting the submachine gun ammo. That was like the big thing that was dropping for me.
Yeah.
Which is my least favorite gun in the entire game.
I bought the TMP again just because I had so much ammo. I was like, well, I need to use this somehow. You don't really need the stock for it. It fires just fine without the stock. It's just kind of a waste of a weapon slot there.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't really rise up, and you're not really doing super accurate shooting with it anyway. So, yeah, what's the big help there?
That's the one gun I bought through this part. There's no new guns in this section. Not that I believe. There might be one missing, but I think the striker is the last, like...
There's a new revolver, I think?
Yeah, it's basically like the big, heavy, like, magnum pistol
kind of thing.
Unless that was in the last section, but
the broken butterfly was there already. I
think it's 5... I think it's 5.2 is when you get that. I'm not... Don't hold me to it.
Okay.
But you never get enough ammunition. No, you're right, John. It was in the last section because I used it on the very last boss fight before this.
Yes.
So it was the upgraded version of that. But the problem is you never get enough ammo to really enjoy it. It's super fun. It's got the big kick. It's very reminiscent of the Desert Eagle that you get in RE2, but it's just never... They're so stingy with ammo for it. You never get anything to be able to use it for fun, other than, maybe on the bosses.
If you save it for bosses, you can use it, but otherwise it's like, nope.
Yeah, it's almost to the point that if you're having, like, space issues, you'd be better off not having it just for the saving on the space. And it's really kind of disappointing that they're so stingy with that particular ammo type. They give you submachine gun ammo all over the place.
I didn't even have a submachine gun, and they were giving me submachine gun ammo.
Yeah.
I was like, stop it.
I really would, especially in this section, I really preferred shotgun or even just standard pistol ammo. But yeah, it's like submachine gun ammo. It's like, I'm down to 2 shells. Here's 50 submachine gun bullets. I'm down to 20 submachine gun bullets. Here's 100 more. It's like, give me something more freaking useful here, man. This whole section, there's not a lot to talk about until we get to kind of our first, like, finding Ashley moment. There's a couple of good little jump scares in here. There's the guy who burst out of the freezer that's on fire. I always like him.
I love that. That bit got me.
There's a couple of times this game reminds you that it was a survival horror series.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
When the sequence is over, Leon's like, why was he in there? I'm like, yeah, why was he in there?
There's a lot of stuff in this whole section that could have been expanded on. Like sections that I really, really enjoyed. But just isn't. Like, you spend so much time just fighting through generic parts of the island that when you get into, like, the labs where you deal with the regenerators, or you get into the prison area that I thought was super cool, where all the cells, when you enter in there and you open up one of the dumpsters and there's a body moving in one of the body bags. Yeah. Like, all that stuff could have been expanded and played with more, but we got a lot of fighting through generic broken down buildings.
None of the environments you're in there for long enough to make an impression. Like the village, the castle. We call this the island, but what is the island? You walk up, you go to a lab. There is the oil refinery in there. There's the like ruins area, almost, and then there's forgetting one. Yeah, there's like the laser grid. There's like the steam room and stuff. There's each time you pass through the prison, each time you pass through a door, it's a nearly completely different vibe.
Yeah.
That it doesn't feel like an actual place. This feels like sectioned off levels. It feels like they had so many ideas, but the game was running long. So they're like, just make these short, make the oil refinery shorter, make the lab shorter, and we'll just throw them all together, have Leon go from place to place to place, to where it just doesn't, it's not homogenized well. It feels like you had a whole bunch of different locations that you just crammed together on this island for this last little bit. But this is still a fantastic game. It's just,
maybe
you can tell they cram so much in that the seams are starting to show and like almost tear at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you 100%. There's so many good ideas here, but it lacks that feeling of a place that the other two sections were so damn good at. Like the village feels like this creepy mountain village that Leon's very isolated in by himself and having to survive. The castle feels like a very classic Resident Evil location. When you get here, it's a lot of good ideas all put in together. It feels like escape rooms. If you ever go into like an escape room, and it's like, you know, like I went to one a few years ago that was like a nuclear plant. You had to escape the plant or whatever. And it was like 3 little bitty rooms, and each time you got out of one, you got stuck in the next one. You know, it feels like escape rooms where they're very cool little rooms, but none of it actually really leads to something that fits, and it's just kind of an excuse to do a cool sequence in. But there is good stuff here. When we find Ashley, something that I never picked up on before is the weird implication of that scene when you find Ashley, because there aren't some security cameras. They shut the cameras off, and there's just a weird implication there. I don't know if you guys picked up on that.
I thought they just shut the cameras off because he didn't want Leon like looking at him, but he's like, he already knows where they. I didn't take any implication.
Why did
from
he
that.
say amateurs? What's amateurish about turning the no? What's amateurish about knowing that you're being watched and then turning the cameras off?
Leon Kennedy kind of just believes that everyone else is an idiot. Like that's a well-established. He's a well-established fact that Leon believes that all these other people are beneath him, and he is the only competent person.
It was like the smartest thing the zombies have done yet so far, and he's like, amateurs.
I don't quite listen. I love Leon. I love Leon, and I'll defend him to the end. Do I understand him? Not at all. I love him now. I don't understand Leon. I don't understand him at all. But I would defend him. I would defend Leon to the death.
One part that stuck out about me here is that Ashley is smacking the metal bars on the prison with an open hand.
Yeah,
like, that's gonna hurt. Right? Yeah, like that's gotta hurt.
That whole sequence is weird.
Yeah.
Just like I said, there was some weird. You watch that sequence back, it just, to me, it just sits a little weird the way they frame it. But it does lead to one of my favorite sections in this, which is the lab and the introduction of the regenerator enemies. We talked a little bit about them, but they are by far the best late edition enemy type that you get. They're creepy, they're weird, they have a weird sub version of them that has like a weird twitching, spikes shooting out of it.
Yep.
Almost like barely in time with the rest of the world looking kind of version of it. I love those enemies. I love when you shoot them in the wrong place, how it makes them even more dangerous. Like they just tentacles shoot out.
You take off their legs and they just leap at you. So good.
No, That happened to me. That was the first. So, because I was trying to figure out how to beat it, and I was like, okay, so if I can't, like, maybe if I destroy its ability to move, so I shot its leg off. I was like, haha, I think that worked. Ah! It leaped at me. I was like, oh god, and it killed me.
You shoot it in the head, and the only thing you gave it now is extra range to come kill you.
Yeah.
You shoot it in the body, it has now new sharp tentacles to stab you. It's such a well-designed enemy.
It is.
It does It does my favorite thing in like horror games or movies in general, where you don't see it, but you know it's there. With the I'm gonna try to replicate the sound, the sound.
God, I hate the sounds it makes.
So good.
Oh. I heard it from the other side of a door, and I was like, oh, it's there. Oh, it's there.
Speaking of the prison sequence, the one that's in the prison, and the way it echoes down the hallway, and you know it's back there somewhere, but you're trying to check each prison cell
and
to
it's
make
behind
sure
you.
He's there. It's a good enemy, and I am excited about what they can do with him for the remake. Because I can imagine they've done really well with like the Mr. X and the Nemesis. You could make him something special if you did some thinking.
You can introduce him early, where we don't expect him.
You could.
You
could theoretically make him a persistent threat to Leon, and then
it's not
when you
until
get
later you're able to beat him.
You get the thermals in later on in the game, because that is something that does work extremely well for the RE2 remake and 3 remake. I mean, 2 in particular, the way Mr. X stalks you through the police station, it's damn effective. Like, there's many times when I was playing that game, I could hear him upstairs, and you would hear doom, 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 and you do the math. You're like, okay, he's upstairs, I am down. The steps are way over there. But can I go get this item before he gets down here? Probably.
The answer is no. Because you'll open the door and he punches you in the face.
Or like baiting him. Like, I have many, many good memories on like in the library where you have to move stuff to get to other areas, but you're trying to move big stacks of books while he's stomping towards the room, and you're like, do I have time to push this rack over here? I don't know. You could make a persistent enemy out of that, and it would make sense. I mean, it would work. I think that could be cool, and then let you get the thermal later on in the game to fight him.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Ton of good stuff here. Very, very solid section. I love the labs in general. I love getting the different cards. This is very classic Resident Evil.
I just want to say the garage door enemy bit is hilarious, where you blow up the dudes and then the garage door opens and there's more dudes.
It feels like whack-a-mole.
Yes.
It's
That's what I was thinking, actually.
But in a good way, not a bad way.
Because it's not on a timer. It's almost like random. It's bizarre. And it'll just open for a split second and then immediately close.
I just had a grenade ready to throw. Just the moment it was out, it was like...
But it's satisfying. Especially if you can... Because it starts off with the guys with the dynamite, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so if you could shoot the guys with the dynamite and let them drop the dynamite and then have the door shut, it's very fun.
Then the second one
now
is
you're
the
stuck in there with
dudes,
that, bro. Yeah, and then the crossbow guys come out.
who will shoot you as soon as it opens. It's hilarious. I should be mad at that, but I'm not, because this game's funny.
When you get Ashley back for a short amount of time, we learned some stuff. One, there's a great sequence in which Leon and Ashley take a big jump off of a platform onto some trash. And Leon's just straight like, don't worry, I figure you land on your butt and you'll be fine. And just this like passive aggressive, like, I don't know. Yeah, you'll be fine. Land on your ass.
We're not doing that. No way, Leon. Way.
It did jumps.
And Leon, you literally, if you did the crane sequence before, you literally threw 2 people down there. Wait,
I'm showing them my note.
Leon,
I have like the sassy emoji when he says "way."
Yes.
When I write that, like "way."
It's like he threw people down there, so it's like, don't you think that could be fatal, Leon? Don't you think Ashley's concern is somewhat?
Nah,
Warranted.
Ashley
Nah.
apparently Ashley got a fat ass. She's gonna land on it. He's gonna be fine.
Ada sends him a note.
Yeah, buy a
kissed
paper airplane. It's just a paper. I just want to see like Ada over there slowly working on a paper airplane and trying to line it up. Throws it a couple times, get caught in the wind. Gotta go catch it. Go pick it.
What's funny is that it's well established that Leon's government radio is the easiest thing to hack on the planet. So I don't understand why she doesn't just hack into that and be like, "Oh, go here, bye."
Exactly.
Because it's too easy. Ada doesn't do easy, okay? It's
That's
all
true.
about the chase, all right? Ada and Leon's relationship is about the chase. Get this through your head. They're trying to teach you that they're two star-crossed lovers, even though that doesn't make any sense. But this game doesn't make any sense, so
Whose
it's okay.
ships never quite pass in the Starry Night.
Exactly. See, John gets it. Thank you. Also, there's a great fight here in a section with a crane and a wrecking ball. But then we learned that Ashley can drive a bulldozer.
Yeah. What?
It's one of my favorite things about this video game. I was very excited about this coming up because I was like, I wonder if everyone, I wonder if A, Michael remembers, and B, how John's going to react to the fact that it's not someone else that drives the bulldozer. Ashley hops behind the bulldozer and just drives the bulldozer.
I feel like this came as like they had this section planned out and was like, we have no other characters who can drive this thing. And be like, just give it to Ashley. Sure,
Ashley,
she has a class. What class license do you need to operate a bulldozer?
That's a pretty big thing. That's probably at least probably class A, maybe class B. Class
She
B,
is the
CDL.
president's daughter, though. So
True.
Maybe
I don't think that just because you're the president's daughter, you get a class A CDL. I don't think they call you like, here, because now you can drive an 18-wheel. But she does a decent job other than the fact that she hits walls all the time. But I think that's the only option she has. It just adds to the weirdness of this whole video game.
I was like, okay, they've really gone crazy, haven't they? When that was happening.
Things aren't going to get any less crazy. Sadler just shows back up and steals Ashley again.
His staff is a living creature.
Which is kind of hinted at. You see it moving a little bit throughout the game. But then...
She's mind controlled.
Yeah. Which is, it's about that time. He'd been talking about that for a while.
So Leon, instead of shooting the main villain, decides to take the time of pulling out a tracker and throwing it on Ashley. And then he says, I should have readied my gun. I'm like, oh, you think?
Leon does that. But how many times was he in the room with Salazar?
True.
And he could just shoot the little bastard. And instead he just talks shit to him. And then when he does want to take action, he throws a knife into his hand instead of using one of the million of machine gun bullets that he damn has.
Which, by the way, that reaction is priceless. When the knife got in his hand, he's like...
He's like a little kid who got, talked a bunch of shit and then finally got smacked in the face. He's like...
Yeah, and who was never smacked before. And then a kid who's just like, I'm not taking this shit, and smacks him. And he's like... That could happen to me.
There's repercussions to my actions. I've been throwing giant statues of myself at people for years, and no one ever threw a knife at me.
This is like the 12th giant statue of myself this year.
Then, when Sadler leaves, literally on the desk behind where he was is
my plan.
Our plan.
Yeah.
Is that the one that's like how they're going to take over the United States?
Yes.
Yeah, it's literally like, allow me to explain to the agent of the president all my plans of taking over the world.
I was like, you left it there. You left it there.
My favorite thing about Sadler is that his plan is really very similar to like a Metal Gear plan.
Yes.
It's just using Resident Evil logic to do it.
Instead of nanomachines, it's parasites.
We gotta talk about this knife fight. I love this knife fight. Everything about it is perfect. You will probably maybe get killed by that first quick time event because it takes just enough time for you to forget about the quick time events before he stabs at you with the knife. I like this. I like the knife fight.
I
It's
died
stupid.
taking notes.
It's so dumb. Yeah, I did too. Actually. I started to write my notes about his introduction, and then it's like, aha! It's like, oh no!
It's literally right after, because he's talking with Ada, and they're like, I don't trust you. I don't trust you either. Okay, bye. That's...
That's
Then
just what Ada does. Ada shows up. She tells you she doesn't trust you, and then she walks away. That's just Ada.
And then as
That's
I'm
how
writing
Ada
the note...
goes to the bank.
And then as I'm writing the note, it's never explained who this man is. I die. I'm like,
Now
oh
you
yeah.
never know.
They explain it. They just don't do a good job of it. Like, they just don't tell you anything of note. Like, they explain it. They just do a shitty job of explaining it.
Yep.
The knife fight is cool. He still doesn't justify him as a villain to me. We get the cool knife from him, but we never get to like use it. Like your knife
That's true, yeah.
Like it's Leon carries around a cool knife, but he still uses the one he has.
Yeah.
There's some really cool stuff in this whole section. There's the laser haul that we talked about, which is really fun.
I like the laser haul.
Yeah, I like that. You get your big moment where you can sit in Sadler's seat and look like a badass.
Yes.
That is in my pictures. There's no time for resting.
There's no reason for it, just other than Leon looks cool hanging out in that big ass seat.
If this is not in the remake, if they don't expand on this to make it like some Devil May Cry 5 like dance sequence, I don't want it.
We get introduced to an enemy here called It. I like this boss fight. I like the concept that it's basically just a survival boss. I don't quite know if it lives up to the hype, you know, because maybe it's just because I've done it so many times, I never have any trouble with him. Like he's pretty easy to dodge and run right by. There's times where you shouldn't be able to get by him, but you can just kind of hug the wall and scoot right by him.
Yeah,
but it's a cool. It's
like he's
a cool
on the
concept,
ceiling.
I guess.
Yeah, I died the first time. I can't remember why exactly I died, but yeah, I remember getting stuck in the first room with him trying to, because I forgot how this boss fight was supposed to operate, and then afterwards I was like, oh, this is how I think I got. Oh no, I remember. I wasted a bunch of ammunition on him initially, and that caused something, a domino effect, where I couldn't beat this boss. So, yeah.
Yeah, you really shouldn't shoot him at all.
Yep.
Yeah, just pistol, shoot the lights, get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, I realized that after. I was like, oh, I could have saved so much ammo.
It tries to give you some extra before you get to the second stage of the boss, which is the just shoot it till it dies stage. Yeah. But I could see you, Michael, if you would have used a lot inside of the three drop cages, then yeah, you might not have enough to kill it, because it gives you like a bunch of shotgun ammo, and there is a couple of barrels in the arena that you fight him at that you can shoot, and it'll set it off, and it'll do a lot of damage to him. Mm-hmm. So that can kind of offset your problem a little bit, but it's a good boss. It's just not much to talk about.
Also, I think it's hilarious here that the tracker that Leon had just put on Ashley is laying on the ground. Like, Sadler's like, what? He thought this would work? No. Literally just like, 2 rooms over. Like, that was nothing.
All Leon's ideas don't work.
It's like every idea they have, they immediately drop. Like the whole, I don't trust you, Ada. I don't trust you either, Krauser. And then Ada, like literally 2 minutes after that scene, Ada betrays Krauser. Like,
yeah.
So it's like every idea they have, they immediately like swerve the other way because they're like, we can't introduce anything new. We have to wrap this thing up.
I don't blame that on like they don't like the ideas that they have put into play. I think it's more that they just have too many ideas.
Not only
It's
that,
like-
but this is the fourth iteration of this game that they were trying to make since Resident Evil 3 came out. So after a certain time, it'd be like, you need to... I imagine a mandate came down. It's like, you need to wrap this up. What are you doing?
And it seems very obvious at this last part.
Yeah.
This is where
Yeah.
I think the game finally shows its wear from the long development. Because everything before that, I'm like, this game should not be as good as it is. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And this is where the themes are starting to show. Not saying it's bad. It's this section is still great. But in comparison to the rest of the game, which is one of... Definitely, this game is probably, if I made a list of like my 50 favorite games of all time, Resident Evil 4 would definitely have a spot in that list, for sure. But
This is the section where, like, if I didn't know this game went through development hell, I would have... If I knew it after I beat it, I'd say it was probably the last section.
yeah,
that-
for sure.
If I had to
Yeah.
guess.
And that's not unfair. That's
No.
not unfair at all. I have very little bad to say about the first two sections here. There is problems here. I mean, let's be realistic.
But nothing that's like bad game bad.
No.
Nothing like that.
No,
It's just it's still great.
It feels like they have more ideas than they know what to do with.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, we get the boss fight that listen. The Krauser fight is stupid.
Yes.
It's a commando fight. He has a machine gun. And he
Yes.
punches you.
He gets a
it's
bird
not-
arm.
It barely feels like a Resident Evil game at that point. It's fine.
You're on a time limit.
It's Metal Gear Solid. He rips his
Yes.
shirt off. He does the I put the insignias in different places. It's very much liquids. If you cross this line, you'll fall.
So it's
Bit from that. It's the most like mono and mono fight in this entire game, even more so than the final boss. He's just showing up in random places like above you, and all of a sudden you have to like shoot at him and dodge his crazy insanity.
Yeah.
I love this stupid boss fight. The fact that like you think the door lock is on a timer. No, it's not. It's based on his damage. So also the first bit here where you're going to the first insignia where you have, it's hilarious because there's that ladder. You can climb the ladder and it'll jump over the ladder and you can knife him and then jump down and it'll take some time to jump down. So you can constantly do this over and over again of just climbing the ladder and he can't process that how to catch you. It's hilarious.
It's like I said, it's not a bad boss fight. It's just you're right. It feels like a Metal Gear boss fight.
This is my favorite boss fight in this entire game.
I can
That's
see
my hot
that.
take. I love this boss fight. It's so much fun.
It doesn't. It's fine.
It
Like,
requires
I'm not gonna
you
argue with
to.
but it's fine.
It requires the best use of like the knife and like strategic aiming to like use the knife on his legs or like use the gun to open up his attacks for like other attacks, like chaining stuff together on him when he's in that final section. Yeah, I love this boss
I
fight.
thought it was a pretty good fight.
I want this.
Not my favorite.
I want this extended in the remake. Like make this cooler, make this longer, go even more ridiculous with it.
They need to have him present during the whole game.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
I agree.
Because he shows up here, he's like, "I'm the one who kidnapped Ashley, and I'm your arch nemesis. Don't you know me, Leon?" And it doesn't work because he hasn't been there.
There's something they do in Resident Evil Village that if they did it in this game, it would have made this character and this stuff more, maybe not impactful per se, but it would have built up better.
I kind of want you to tell me what it is. I kind of want you to tell me, but
I can. It's not really okay. It's not really a spoiler.
Let's do this. We're going to say for the next 2 minutes, spoiler for Resident Evil 7.
8.
8.
Oh, Resident Evil 8. Sorry. Yeah, okay.
All right, yep, starting now. So, it's relatively early in the game after you get to a certain location. You're introduced to a lot of the big bosses you'll be fighting later in the game. You get a read on their personalities, you get a read on what their motivations are in the short 3 minutes this sequence is. And it was good enough to where when it was time to interact with these bosses later in the game, I already had an idea of who they were, and it made more sense.
Okay.
Why I was in the situation. And so, like, if they did that in this game, they kind of did it in the beginning for the first. I can't remember the tall boss's name.
He's like the mayor of the town or the chieftain.
The chief.
Chieftain.
Yeah, the chief. They kind of do that for him because they show him at the beginning and stuff, but not quite in the way Village does it. But the point is, there's that sequence, and I'm not going to spoil anything about the sequence, but you're introduced to a few of the main bosses you'll fight.
Okay.
And it's really cool that you kind of already have an idea of what you're up against. And
Not-
who
They
kinda
kinda-
are
Not to bring this back to Metal Gear, but it's like getting the briefing on like the boss unit that those games always do. Oh, that's a cool way of doing. Yeah, I could see that working here.
They run this strategy where every time you enter the new area, you get a peek of who the bad guy is, right? You get the chief at the village pretty early on. You get Salazar pretty early on there. I think the problem is here, one, he's introduced so late in the story that it kind of feels weird that he's just now showing up. And two, you're told repeatedly that he's like a key figure. And it's like, well, if you're such a key figure, where have you been for the past 12 hours of this video game, you know?
Yep.
It just feels like I think what you're suggesting, John, what they do in Village apparently would have been nice, even if he just shows up at the very beginning in some form to introduce him to the concept that he's here, so then we can see him later and be like, okay, there he is.
Or a flashback that
Exactly.
would be cool if you played to where you find out what happened between him and Sadler.
You can play the betrayal or the perceived betrayal.
Do the Final Fantasy VII thing where you're Cloud walking with Sephiroth and you're like, what is going on here?
No, I think that here's the thing: they have shown a willingness to not make a straight up beat by beat remake, so I could see them doing some of these kind of changes. RE2 and RE3 are not beat by beat remakes, and I could see them saying, like, listen, I feel like they have to be aware of some of the shortcomings here, and that seems like a pretty easy fix in the grand scheme of things.
This is where I realized that when before they announced the Resident Evil 4 remake, I was kind of an opponent of it, going, this game's already perfect, what are you doing? And then after playing it, it was like, okay, there are some things that you can improve on for a newer version of it that I think warrants its existence. More so now finishing 4 than when I started 4.
Exactly. I feel like that's a very valid point. At the end of this fight, we continue our quest to get Ashley. We have our helicopter buddy shows up.
Mike!
Yeah.
Mike,
Mike.
who Leon, like Lewis, forms an instant connection with anybody who helps him. So
Yep.
when Mike, spoiler, dies, he just takes that hard, man. He only
Never
knew
gonna
Mike
drink
for
those drinks with Mike.
like 5 minutes, but he freaking loved Mike. He's like, Mike and me. like
Underrated
this.
line here. He says, sorry, bad traffic. I'm like, you're in a helicopter!
Michael.
Yeah, I know.
It's called comedy. It's called comedy. Mike. Oh Lord.
Wait, was he being funny there? I couldn't tell. I thought... Because everything else in this game...
Goddamn.
everything else in this game is, like, played as... It's ridiculous, but it's played as the most serious, like... Everyone is dead serious. No one is joking. No one makes a joke. Everyone is dead serious when they communicate stuff.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that was a joke.
Oh, okay. It went over my head.
I want to go out on a limb and say that was a joke. The mic is making a gag here. So this is...
That's when Leon gets really mad at Salazar. Because he's like,
Sadler,
oh, you don't... Sadler, God.
Yeah.
Sadler, yeah. He's talking to Sadler on the comms, and then he's like, what? I just wanted to bother some fly. And then Leon's like, insects' lives don't compare to human lives. And he's like,
don't you dare talk about Mike that way. He was special. Yeah. He was going to buy me a beer.
I just love that Leon forms these really tight connections with people in like less than 5 minutes. You help Leon out. If you held a door open for Leon, he'd come to your house and help you move.
He'd die for you.
He has really long connections with that he forms problems with. It's what I'm getting from this.
Yeah. It's the longer you hang out with Leon, the more problems he has with you. The whole helicopter sequence is fine. It's pretty cool. It's cinematic.
He knocks over a water tower instead of using the guns to...
Yeah.
No, it's not a water tower because it explodes.
Oh, it's just gasoline.
That'd be like oil or gas. Yeah. We get Ada shows up. Leon becomes evil Leon. Stabs Ada.
Then chokes her.
This whole sequence with Leon and Sadler, Ada trying to help us out. It's a cool action sequence. Mm-hmm. It leads to us getting Ashley, and then in less than like 5 minutes, we get the bug out of us, and it really didn't really seem as that big of a deal.
Yeah, I know. It's like we're literally, the conflict is literally over. One of the main conflicts, and I was like, why doesn't this feel like it has more weight to it?
And then they talk about how dangerous it is, the procedural.
Yeah,
goes pretty smooth.
It hurts a bit, but they're like, and Ashley's like, I thought you were gonna die. And he was like, he was like, ah.
He did the same face as someone getting their prostate checked. He's just that level of like, it's over. Yeah, it's that level of pain.
Yeah, no, I will say, Ashley's faces are a bit suggestive.
Oh yeah.
They knew what they were doing.
What do you mean?
Ashley was it hurt so good.
It hurt
so good.
That's how I describe her reaction to it.
Yeah, it just hurt so good.
It was pervert.
You know how if you ever played Dead Space 2, there's a sequence in which you have to do some medical treatment on yourself. It involves an eyeball.
That's the one thing I know about Dead Space 2.
Ooh. Yeah, it's a good sequence. But it reminds me of that, but without any of the levity and weight behind it, because they just hop in the seat and they're okay.
A little shocky, it's over.
Yeah, it's just something. This just goes straight to basically the final chapter is just the boss fight with Sadler. He's got
Leon leaves Ashley in a pit. It's like, wait here, you'll be safe.
Yeah, he runs off it's a hint.
Yeah.
He gets a hint. He's like, shit feels weird. Let me go leave you here for a little bit. She's like right down the road from the merchant guy though, and there's never any enemies around that guy, so he knew it was pretty cool. He's like, hang out with my buddy the merchant. I'm gonna go upstairs here and see if I gotta fight a boss.
Do you think Leon's okay? Welcome.
Just like the idea of like the merchant's packing up. She's like, where you going? Adventure's over. Time to move on to the next place to sell some stuff to somebody dealing with some shit.
He just walks off into the sunset.
This whole sequence, the boss fight with Sadler, I think is actually pretty good.
I like this boss.
We need a Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead type of story where it's this game but just from the perspective of the merchant.
Yes.
If you ever played The Messenger, the best merchant in video games is in there. And if we could just become the merchant at one point and just be the guy to sell people stuff, make me very, very happy.
I'm going to shout this from the rooftops.
I've not. Never played
I'm going to shout this from the rooftops to everybody. Play The Messenger. It's such a good game.
I agree.
Probably my favorite Metroidvania.
I would tell you that The Messenger is probably one of my favorite games of the past 5 years that I've played.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
It's
So
very,
good.
very damn good. So good. We do the big boss fight with Sadler. It's a good boss fight. A lot of shooting weak spots, triggering industrial equipment to hit them. It's a good Resident Evil boss fight that ends with the classic Resident Evil thing of somebody throwing you a rocket launcher to hit something with.
My
That was
favorite
great.
thing. My favorite thing about this is they're going off and he was like, "You plan to stop me mid-sentence? I don't like cliches." And then he turns into a spider monster with an eyeball weak point. Like the most
Well, he
cliche
also-
final boss thing ever.
But he also does the whole like, oh, this isn't an American power fantasy. The big Americans showing up to bring down the evil terrorists, and that's exactly what this is, brother. Like Leon Kennedy's like, yes, that's what this is. It's a good boss fight. It ends in the always good way to end a video game of a escape sequence. The jet ski is a little weird at the end because if you don't keep that accelerator pushed down the entire way at the end there, you're just not gonna get out no matter what you do.
Even
So
then.
you yeah.
And the first time, the water was obscuring the vision, so I couldn't see what was in front of me. I did it probably like 5 times. I always forget this jet ski sequence is here.
Yeah, it's the big it's the escape from the Pillar of Autumn in Halo. It's the
there's-
vehicle section at the end to get out.
There's always an escape sequence at the end of a Resident Evil. You gotta escape a lab before something happens.
You either hop a train, or you escape a lab, or you ride a jet ski. It's always
Get on a helicopter, stuff like that.
yeah. It's a classic, trope for a reason.
And just like a classic trope, Ada takes the Does she take the Plagas, or is that the vaccine? That's the Plagas, right?
Takes a Plagas.
Okay.
No, she takes Plagas.
So I imagine that will be the thing that ties us into 5.
Oh,
Maybe.
because what does she do with it? What does
Sure.
she plan to do with it? Why would?
I'd say this, Michael. Have they struck you as playing super dedicated to canon in this here video game?
Is that never mentioned again in 5 or 6?
Are they running pretty fast and loose? Listen.
Yeah.
There's people who would defend 5. Those people are wrong. We have reached the mountaintop, and the descent is coming quickly. 5 is a slow, rolling descent where you go, this isn't bad, but it's not great. I don't know. And then 6 is when everything falls off the cliff. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe
So
one day we'll discuss 5.
So is that Plagas ever mentioned again in Resident Evil canon that Ada took?
God, yes, it is.
Okay, leave it at that.
I have to refresh my memory on 5. I mean, it's not dropped, but I mean, Wesker is in 5.
Yeah.
I mean, Wesker is your main villain in 5. He's mentioned here. There is connections.
Okay.
But so let's just leave
You
it at
work
that.
for Wesker or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, final thoughts. Oh, a couple of things at the end here. Leon, no simp Leon. Don't simpin'. Ashley offers, nah, Leon ain't got time for it.
Want to do
So
some?
you-
Come back to my place and do some overtime.
Yeah. Whoa.
No,
I think
no
I
simp
literally
Leon.
wrote whoa.
Out of nowhere.
Leon's like, listen, nah, we ain't doing it.
And then Ashley brushes off. Okay, that's fine. So what about Ada then?
He's like, it's just 2 ships passing in the wind, him and Ada. Ada's his uniform.
Then we get to end credit sequence that does not match the tone of the game at all.
No, it's so weird.
yeah.
It's
dark.
showing all the villagers before they went insane,
Yeah.
and it's like
dark.
it's very dark. The music's very drab. It's supposed to be like this moment of like reflection of like how far the journey come and where like this whole thing started from, it's great on its own. After playing Resident Evil 4, it does not land. It's like, what is this tonal shift here? So I'm hoping
the end of this game.
Yeah. So I'm hoping with the remake, I'm like, this credit sequence is amazing. I want a game that fits that tone at the end of this thing. Because I really like it isolated, how like it goes back and ties in the village to like the journey and everything you've done from the end of this game. But it does not fit tonally in Resident Evil 4 at all.
No. Final thoughts. I still stand by. This is the greatest video game of all time. Everything about this video game is weird and unique, and there's a million and one ideas, and you never know what's going to happen. You cannot say you cannot say when you sat down and played Resident Evil 4, John, that you knew we were going to end up here.
No, this game subverted most of all my expectations, I'd say.
I think that's a credit to this game. That you never know what's going to happen.
It can't be predicted, and it can't be replicated. So, a game like this, like Resident Evil Remake, is probably a remake because it was like, it's going to be called a remake because it's a remake, like starting from the scratch, and rebuilding like its foundation. But it's not going to be this game. This game is a one of a kind thing that surprisingly is still great to this day. I still absolutely love this game.
Resident Evil 4 remake it can't be. You cannot have modern asset creation and modern like requirements to make a video game and do Resident Evil 4. You would, like, I talked about this all the time with, like, there's no reason to have a giant statue chase sequence for 2 minutes, or there's no reason to have to design an entire furnace section for one little room, or it's just a ton of ideas that makes no production sense, but that's why it's so one of a kind and why you won't see it again. I do hope that in the process of making Resident Evil 4 remake, they don't forget that this game is weird. I want it to be more of a horror game, but at the same time, I want it to be still weird. I still want little homages to things just being off and this not being like other Resident Evil games. If they can do that and make it more of a horror experience, I think it's going to be really, really solid. I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm fascinated. I'm so excited for the day one on that thing. I just want to see where they go. It's a mountain of a task. But I'm pretty excited about it.
And I want to play it now after playing this one.
For sure.
I feel like it's important to have context when you go into it. And now you have the full context of what this thing was and is. So when you go into that remake, you're like, oh, I actually understand why this is a big deal. Why this is a bigger deal than even like the Resident Evil 2 remake was. A lot of good things. And like all good things, it must come to an end. But there was all sorts of stuff you unlocked when you beat this thing. You unlocked a very, very good Mercenaries mode. You unlocked 2 little mini campaigns. So lots of good stuff here to keep you playing if you want to keep your Resident Evil 4 experience going.
You've unlocked new costumes for Leon and Ashley. Leon in his Resident Evil 2 cop uniform and Ashley in a pop star uniform.
Yep.
If you want the best costumes, you need to play the Separate Ways campaign.
That's when you get the gangster Leon and you get the knight armor Ashley.
Ashley in a suit of armor so enemies can't pick her up.
And also she's bulletproof. So yeah, that makes the game a lot more enjoyable for a second playthrough, because then, like I said, you don't have to worry about them. No one
Ooh,
can,
you know what makes
they
this
can't- they
game
go out, they can't
actually
kill
one of the greatest games of all time? Those second playthroughs, because just playing this game on basically a god mode makes this incredibly fun. Like you said, this was the first time you played a vanilla playthrough in so long because it's so much fun to play New Game Plus over and over again, trying to beat your best time, racking up on so much ammo, just using the infinite rocket launcher constantly.
It becomes a completely different experience at that point. Then it's an arcade game, not a action adventure game. At that point, you know, it's just an arcade experience. Just wasting fools and running around and being, you know, Superman, basically. I'm trying to check this for a segue. Our first Resident Evil game we played for this show was Resident Evil 7, which was written by a gentleman that wrote the game that we're about to play next time. Imagine that leap in logic, Michael. That was a high-quality segue.
That was pretty great.
Please go ahead and submit my application to the Segway community, and I would be more than happy to accept it at my next visit.
I will make, for your consideration, billboards and blast them on the California area.
Just me like this.
For your consideration for best segue. And they're like, there's not even a category that exists like that. What are these idiots doing?
We're playing a game that I'm very, very excited about. Something I wanted to play for the show for a while. It's a game that, Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, you have not played?
I've not played this game.
John, I don't know if you've played this game before, but it is Spec Ops The Line. Have you played Spec Ops The Line?
I've not even heard of that game.
All right.
Spec Ops The Line is a fascinating game to exist. It is of the celebrated, quote unquote, Spec Ops series of games, which were your crappy knockoff versions of like SOCOM Navy SEALs and Ghost Recon. And
Before SOCOM, yeah, Ghost Recon,
Yeah.
or early Rainbow Six.
Early Rainbow Six. Then magically, of that franchise, we get Spec Ops The Line, which is just way too good for what that game series deserved, and touches on problems and topics that are going to be way more than what you would have bargained for when you picked up a Spec Ops game. It is a game that I don't know how many people actually played.
I've never played, but I know about some of the things in this game just from like retrospectives. It'd be like, oh, this is one of the greatest games of the Xbox. People saying this is one of the best games of the Xbox 360 generation in terms of its story. And from the outside looking in, you're like, how is that possible? Then you look up something and go, oh, okay, I don't want to know anymore because I want to play this for myself at some point. And now we're at a point where I'm going to play it.
Yeah, it's a hidden gem for a reason because it shouldn't have come out the way it did. Like it came out. If it would have been under a new IP, I think it would have got more like eyeballs on it. But unfortunately, it was under a kind of an IP that already kind of ruined any, goodwill that it could have. And then it's like, oh, and then here's this ball of video game that comes out that unless you were willing to give it a shot, probably you missed. But I'm really, really hoping that we can draw some more attention to Spec Ops The Line because it's a wonderful video game. Hit us up with some of the kind of details, Michael.
All right. Spec Ops The Line is a third-person shooter developed by the German studio Jaeger Development. Jaeger was founded in 1999, and the following info at the history of their studio comes from Google translated articles. So the accuracy may not be exact for some of the following statements I'm about to make. So 5 computer-savvy friends came together with an idea for a sci-fi game called Jaeger. In 2000, after spending a year developing concepts for the game, they spent a week sleeping in the office and burning an early, rough version of Jaeger for the London Entertainment Fair, as well as a fair for games in Los Angeles. The German article does not clarify if this was E3 or not. They managed to secure investors, moved into a small office and released Jaeger in 2003 to modest reviews on the Xbox, and a lackluster PC port titled Aerial Strike Low Altitude High Stakes The Jaeger Missions launched to mixed scores. That's a title. Around this time, the Spec Ops series, a franchise consisting of PC tactical shooter games, was ongoing. The fan base for the series was seen as evergreen, meaning that tactical fans would keep buying every new entry. 7 Spec Ops games and 2 expansion packs released between 1998 and 2002. In a 4-year span, 7 games and 2 expansion packs released on the PC, Dreamcast, and PlayStation 1. After drastically declining sales proved that the evergreen model was unsustainable, all future Spec Ops games were cancelled. Take-Two, owners of the Spec Ops franchise, announced in 2003 that Rockstar Vancouver was working on a new Spec Ops game. It was cancelled a year later. Josh Homme, the lead singer of Queens of the Stone Age, was working on the soundtrack for that game.
Guess who's a very interesting musician, Josh Holmes. I like Queens of the Stone Age. Yeah, there's some good stuff there. Songs for the Deaf is a damn good album.
For Rockstar,
I did not see that one coming. In 2000, see Josh Holmes of all people being involved in a Spec Ops game
made by Rockstar that was canceled. In
Josh
2006,
Holmes, who married Brody Daly of the Distillers. There's controversy in the scene. You want to talk about like early 2000s punk rock scene controversies? Broke up with Tim Armstrong with Rancid. People didn't know what to believe. It's tough times. Tough times.
In 2006, Jaeger pitched a futuristic soldier game to 2K. 2K turned down the pitch, but were impressed with their demonstration, handing them the keys to the Spec Ops franchise. Their only stipulation was that it had to be called Spec Ops, and that it had to remain military-themed. Otherwise, the studio had free reign to do whatever they wanted. This is where I am refraining from digging any more into the development because most of the articles about the development history are focused specifically on the game's narrative. And that's something I want to go in as fresh as possible on. Polygon especially has an in-depth article focusing on the story's creation that I want to read after we finish this game. Spec Ops was developed around the time where every single-player game needed a multiplayer element. And the multiplayer component was outsourced to Darkside Game Studios, who developed the multiplayer, another unnecessary multiplayer for another game, BioShock 2. So, remember that time when BioShock had a multiplayer?
No.
Fun times. No, I don't think anyone. I'm told from the people who played it was good, but it shouldn't have been. The game was announced to the public at the 2009 Spike TV Video Game Awards.
Hell yeah.
The game was seen as difficult to market because they did not want to spoil any of the story, and initial trailers made the game look like it would be a generic military shooter. The game released on PC, PlayStation 3, and the Xbox 360 on June 26, 2012 to positive reviews. However, the game was a commercial failure. But the game would go on to be a cult classic. It would receive awards for its narrative and appear in a few retrospective greatest games of all time or greatest games of the generation lists. There are currently no plans
2012. June 6, 2012?
June 26, 2012.
June 26th? Really?
Yep.
Odd.
A decade ago.
Why is that?
Yeah, it just didn't fit. I was trying to think where I was when I was playing this, but okay. My memory is shot, so apparently I was in a completely different, living place when I played through this damn game. Yeah. Okay, makes sense. No, there was just a personal freeze there where I was trying to picture back when I played this game when I bought it.
Gotcha.
And I was like, man, why did I buy this game? I didn't have no fucking money. I was like, oh shit.
I imagine it fell off a cliff pretty quickly because it was a commercial failure. I imagine you could get this game for cheap pretty now. It's hard to find at a good price now.
I bought it pretty much when it came out.
Oh, really?
I had the right people telling me the right things, and if you know anything about the kind of fiction that I enjoy, this runs right up that alley. Also, we'll kind of do some preface it from my end at the end of your thing here, but it fits a story idea that I've always enjoyed. So go ahead and continue, and then I'll tell you why.
There's currently no plans for another Spec Ops game. Jaeger was acquired by Tencent in 2021. And that's the prep.
So, Spec Ops: The Line is a fascinating video game. There is a lot of slight content warning here. It's going to deal with some touchy stuff. It's going to be dealing with some stuff that's very rough around the edges, and it was very much on the mindset of the society we were living in at that point. This is very much in line with stories like Heart of Darkness. If you're familiar with the movie Apocalypse Now, it's not going to paint a fun picture of this. Spec Ops, the series, was a very rah-rah military, shoot-all kind of thing, and this does not paint that kind of picture. It is a fictional story. It does not take place in an actual conflict, but it has a lot of ties to stories and conversations and things like that were going around at the time that this game was released, and the active American operations in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. Fun personal story about this here video game. I played this game. I was fairly young. I was a young man when this game came out. I had a friend of mine who was recently enlisted in the United States Army, and we both played this video game at the exact same time and came away with vastly different opinions of it. One of us was playing in a punk band at the time. One of them was fresh out of basic training. Our opinions on this were vastly different and led to very nasty arguments.
It sounds like a sitcom.
No, it was not a sitcom. Consider it maybe an HBO drama. But it's a game that is definitely worth playing. It's something that's been kind of buried by time. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. I don't have a ton of recollection on gameplay of this video game. I have recollection on story beats and content that takes place in it. I can tell you 6 or 7 moments that it takes place in this video game. The beat for beat, I know it's a third-person shooter, very similar to some of the Guilds of War gameplay that was going around at the time. But that's not the reason this is worth playing. It's not gameplay-wise is not why we're playing this. We are playing this to explore a story that was very powerful for the time. And like I said, but I do kind of warn people, this is a rough kind of thing. It's dealing with stuff that's not pleasant by any means of the imagination, and it's dealing with things that are... It's one thing to deal with unpleasant circumstances in an extremely fantasy game. We just play Resident Evil 4. There is no such thing as weird parasites busting out of people's heads and things like that. But this is dealing with things that are very tied to things that are not that far away from where we are today. So it's something to take into consideration before jumping in. But at the same time, I think the story is very valid, and I think the story is extremely interesting.
Absolutely. And because this is a very story-focused game, even though it's on kind of the shorter side, we are going to do a two-parter of it, because I have a feeling this would be one that where if we were to dissect the whole game in one go, it would be a long, grueling discussion. So maybe breaking it up into 2 parts is the way to go here.
What is our stopping point?
Our stopping point is Chapter 10, Rigs, at the start of the game. Or at the start of Chapter 10. Exactly halfway through.
Okay. I just okay. I think that will work. I think 2 parts is 100% right. I'm just trying to cast my mind. It's hard to discuss without getting into the reasons, but there is a point if you play this video game you might not get to the section in which the game clicks because it kind of hides its cards for the sake of the story. But I believe we are past that point at that moment.
Okay.
We'll see.
Or maybe like it has someone who has played this game. Maybe like the curtain is starting to rise, and you can kind of see. Because that'd be fun I think that'd be fun from my end too, to see where I think it's going based on like where we are in it. As someone who hasn't played this game before. Also,
Possibly.
inside baseball, we have some like scheduling stuff, so we need like shorter play sessions these next couple.
No, I'm just interested to see how you feel about it without knowing where that's going.
Okay,
but we'll see. And like I said, it's a game that I have no memory of gameplay stuff. Like I have a couple of things that I remember, but not much. It is mostly story and events that take place in this game.
I'm very excited.
It's pretty easy to acquire for. It is on Xbox Marketplace. I want to say, is it on PlayStation Marketplace?
PS3. It's not on PS4, or I don't think it's a streaming PS3 title on PS4 either.
Okay, I do know it's on. I want to say it's on. You can purchase it pretty relatively cheap on Microsoft platforms. You think, like I said, streaming. I want to say it's on Steam. You should be able to play it there. It's definitely worth playing. I encourage everybody to give it a shot. And like I said, it's about a 6-hour game, so not something super difficult to get through. But it's gonna be interesting. I'm fascinated to see how y'all feel about it. It's a game that it's interesting for the time, and remember also where it came out and the things that were going on in that year where it might be a little bit more pressing at that time than it is maybe even today, but it's also a good lesson to remember.
I am excited.
stateofthesave@gmail.com is where you send your emails. At State of the Save on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. State of the Save on YouTube. State of the Save on Twitch. I'm sure I missed 3 other platforms that we're on.
Yeah, I
But
think it's a
good
good time.
time.
You're fine.
Yes, it's a good time. So definitely follow us on all of those. As always, stay safe out there.